You will pay for your lack of fresh coffee. Zzz, zzz.
He's gone, Pika. He's not coming back. Don't be afraid. Hey, everyone. Visit from an old friend there. Could have been the ghost of Plaid Palpatine. Who is Plaid Palpatine? We'll find out more about that later. But right now, welcome back to the Comics Coffee Table. Huzzah and good day. Oh my goodness. Palpatine was right. Hashtag Palpatine was right. Hashtag Plaid Man Bad. Hashtag do it. It was a satire thing I made. Some of the first content I ever produced. Daily. Plaid Palpatine taught me how to make daily content. God bless. May the Force bless that old, tired clone. But let's get to it. Yeah, so I got these two books here. Given to me by my parents over Christmas. So therefore, this season is dedicated to my parents, my mom, and my stepdad, Hoppy, who I call Hoppy Poppy. And we get a kick out of that. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I am reboxing, reboarding, and rebagging my entire collection. I am. And I thought we could do this together. I thought it would make great content. We could take a break from our busy day for a couple of minutes, leave our problems over there. We can come and sit down at our coffee table, grab a cuppa, take a break, and shoot the breeze about something we all love. We know we love comic books. We congregate here daily, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notifications. Come along. Room for everyone at this coffee table. Slancha, skol, cheers, salud to your health. Indeed. Part of this show is we have a mission on this show. Our mission is simple. I want you to join the Galactic Empire. No, that's Palpatine. And I want you to go to your local comic book store and buy supplies there. If you're like me, you probably have a collection or an accumulation and in whatever condition that they're in right now. And I looked at mine and it needed some love. I need new boxes all across the board. So what I'm doing is I'm migrating my collection from long boxes to a more manageable short box. Listen, the older I get, the heavier those boxes get. So, you know what? I'm doing myself a favor. And also, while I'm at it, I'm rebagging. I need Mylar bags. I know this, but it's going to be a little while till they get back into the supply chain. And boards, acid-free backing boards. I could be getting my lights through my online supply chain. Free delivery at a discount rate, too. What's stopping me? I'll tell you what. I need to be spending my money in my local comic book shop, in the brick and mortar, in the mom and pop places. When the local comic book shops are gone, they're going to be gone. There will still be some vintage boutiques, but just think of record stores or candy stores. Well, that's the fate that awaits the direct market, unfortunately. And our love of this medium, the comic book, the floppy, one could say, the individual single monthly publication magazine issue. What's going to happen to that? We don't know yet, but we're all along for the ride, and might be bumpy. But while you can, support your local comic book shops and keep them strong. I'm redistributing my personal wealth with a sense of equity and fairness and choice. I'm going to try to keep my local comic book shop in business for as long as I can. While we're bagging and boarding, I'm going to be looking at how to grade them as well, like looking at little dings in the corner or the staples or the coloring the pages. There's so many different things to look for. Wear and tear. They're frail things. Comic books. They're paper. They're held together with two staples, and they're very fragile if under the wrong conditions. And it takes so little effort to ensure that they're going to have a long life and do something else. They can keep their value too. So part of this is evaluating, like, how much is my comic book collection worth? Well, so I'm going to get a general sense of that. Now, if you have any serious questions about the condition or value of your collection, I would totally tell you, while you're at your local comic book shop buying your supplies, keeping them in business, to ask them, and they can put you in the best direction. This show is for entertainment purposes only. We're here to have fun, to congregate, and to talk comic books once a day, every day, for the rest of the year. 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Subscribe. The coffee table is always where my friends and I would congregate. We would just shoot the shit, gab. There would always be a stack of movies, a stack of music, and a stack of books, especially a stack of comic books. And we would always be trying to get each other to read this, read that, and it's a wonderful time. And so in that spirit, welcome to our coffee table. And I hope you enjoy hanging out with us. Now, Star Wars, the Marvel comic book Star Wars, which basically saved Marvel from, going out of business in the late 70s. There's a great story behind that. I only know the brass tacks of it. That Stan Lee was against it. He just wanted to do superheroes. He didn't want to have any kind of corporate tie-in, but having the Star Wars license gave them the readership that they needed, that they were able to survive and go into this transition from the newsstand to the direct market. So Star Wars was a boon for Marvel Comics, and it must have been one of the first comic books I can remember getting. Now, I can also remember getting the oversized Star Wars from Woolworths. F.W. Woolworths. Yeah. And this was probably about 5 or 6 before I even saw the movie. I knew the comic book because I was just a little too young, I think. I'll be in 1980 when we see, I'll be 7 years old when we see Empire Strikes Back. And I'll be 8 years old by that November. So before that, I remember seeing Star Wars at the movie theater, but I don't remember seeing it premiere night. I remember it from this bloody thing, man. This is a Fisher-Price movie viewer. This has got a cassette. It's got a reel of actual film in here. I would watch Star Wars through this. This is the Star Wars cassette, and you can watch it forward and backwards. And this was my first taste of the movie. I remember this. That's like wicked ancient history. But Star Wars, I remember getting the oversized Star Wars. I remember getting the oversized Battlestar Galactica as well, that Marvel adaptation. So something like this, and you know it, I got a weakness, I got a fever for the flavor. I want to win this Columbia 10-speed racer. Who won this Columbia 10-speed racer? Who won it? I don't. Where did you get these? I got these at a comic book convention last year. I go to comic book conventions to hang out with people, to cosplay, to occasionally get an autograph. Depends on who, and I go diving through the long boxes. That's where I am in my glory. But also going on at the same time that these Star Wars comic books is the newspaper strips that had nothing to do with the Marvel comic. Now, Marvel got to print these. We got to color them. There was a daily strip. There was a Sunday strip and a Sunday big ones. This was great. So I was like, Star Wars was like everywhere. Look at that. The original Dark Troopers. Look at that. First scene here. I mean, I always wanted, like, the black armored stormtrooper. We didn't have variants back then. Heck, I had a stormtrooper action figure that was kept at my grandparents' place called Greenie, and I had put like my auntie's green. She was in college, and so she always had a rainbow of Sharpies and highlighter pens. So I took the green one, and I was always touching it up in green. It was always coming off on my fingers too. But I had Greenie, and then when I saw the episode 3 Clone Troopers with the green camouflage on Kashyyyk, I was like, "There's Greenie!" Yeah. Well, this is great. There's another collection of this too that I have to get. They're not that great, but they're not that bad either. And it looks like that they all got their visual references from the toys. I gotta say that. And this is really fun. And I got these all for like literally $15 each. And guess what? These are near mint. These are really good condition. They go for that much. This is one of my favorite covers, all time. Star Wars comic book covers was issue 62. Now this one here, issue 53. I'll just give you a little background on them. Look at that. That's art by Walter Simonson, and wow, this was written by Chris Claremont. But there's pencils by Carmen Infantino and Walt Simonson in here. Its release date was August 18th of 1981. So this is a year after Empire Strikes Back. So we know what a TIE bomber looks like. Interesting. Yeah, this is wonderful Walt Simonson artwork. Marvel comic book. Let's just see it right here. Yep, just like I thought. Edited by Louise Jones, who would go on to edit the X-Men through all the early 80s and then hand it off to Annie Nocenti. But Louise Jones will eventually marry Walter Simonson, and you will know her as Wheezy Simonson. Louise Simonson, yes. The writer of X Factor. That's and yeah, the inventor of Apocalypse, exactly. This this is great. This issue 68 goes for about $275, and it might have to do with it's the first appearance of a Mandalorian outside of Boba Fett. It was the first appearance of Fen Shisha, and he was a Mandalorian protector. This is when there was no Mandalorian stories yet. It was like the first tellings of like what is a Mandalorian, what were they, and this one too. It's a near mint condition. It is a Bronze Age baby. It is these are worth $15 right now. Seriously, that is the going price. I paid going price for this. I checked. This is great. This is right before Return of the Jedi comes out, and this is a survival tale about Wedge Antilles and how his harrowing survival tale after the Battle of Hoth in Empire Strikes Back. Indeed, I got this one as well. Yeah, today we're focusing on Star Wars funny books. We are. That's today's focus. You haven't figured it out yet? May the Force be with you. I'm a huge, huge Star Wars fan. I really am. I got lightsabers. Those are my Episode 1 hilts. That's a Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. I used to have Darth Maul as well. I gave it to a child so he can play with it. It was a nice fate for a toy. Give a kid a toy. But yeah, these Bronze Age Marvel comics are just wonderful, and they are. Pico looked it up. They are of that price. In 1991, though, Marvel lost its license for Star Wars. The Star Wars license went over to Dark Horse Comics, and in 1991 they did the most amazing sequel to Return of the Jedi. It was called Dark Empire, and it was just blew everyone's mind. It was great to finally start seeing more new Star Wars stories. And then this became also under the new Lucas Books auspice of this interrelated continuity. So Dark Empire was the beginning of what would eventually in a few years lead into Timothy Zahn's Thrawn trilogy, the original Thrawn, not to be confused with the Disney Plus variant or the post-Disney 2015 edict. In 2015, in 2012, Disney bought Lucasfilms and Star Wars from George Lucas for $6 billion. And in 2015, with the release of The Force Awakens, came a corporate edict saying that any previous Star Wars continuity, called the Expanded Universe, was now relegated to something called Legends and no longer a valid continuity. They were going to build a new Star Wars story so they could fit this new sequel territory. Like it or hate it, that's where the owners took it. And they took the license back from Dark Horse and put it into back into Marvel Comics, because Disney also owns Marvel Comics. So brought it back in-house to a new #1, and there's a huge amount of modern Star Wars comics, like this one right here. Yeah, love the Phil Noto art. I love Phil Noto's art. Phil Noto's did a lot of covers for the new Marvel age of Star Wars comic books. And then I started getting this. I wanted to give it a chance. This is like, I really did. I found that I liked Poe Dameron a lot as a character. I like flying X-wings. I like the flight simulator games. Like Battlefront 2 had a Star Cruiser, a Starfighter mode. Then came Squadrons, and before that, X-wing versus TIE Fighter, or the TIE Fighter series, or even just like the original 1983 Atari Vector Matrix, screen with like the music and the dialogue and the Death Star assault. Oh boy, can you tell I'm a Star Wars fan? Give me ones in the chat if you're a huge Star Wars fan too. But here's a good one that Dark Horse, one of Dark Horse's last Star Wars comics. They had Tales of the Old Republic. They had Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Sith. They had Clone Wars tales. They had a future tale called Star Wars Legacy. Star Wars Legacy, and this was set 100 years in the future with Luke Skywalker's descendants. Cade Skywalker, who's a pirate, but he gets visited by his grandpa Luke's Force ghost, and he's got to, unfortunately he's got to be a hero now, or try to be an anti-hero or something like that. It's something I can get into a little later, but I just touched the surface here. Love the designs. These are like the Sith Lords of 100 years after the battle of or would that be 108 years after the Battle of Yavin? Is that why we still, make time here? This was a good one too. This is called Star Wars Infinities. This is by Dark Horse as well. They did one for all three of the original trilogy movies, where it's a what if. There's a divergence in the timeline. What if Luke dies, and Leia has to become the sole hope of the rebellion, and she's the one that brings Vader back in the end. Oh no, Luke doesn't die in this one, but like in the end, Vader gets redeemed. So like there's a divergent point. Like everything's normal until they get to like one little point. But I wanted to leave it here with this is one of the last ones done. It was Star Wars, and it was based on a George Lucas's original rough draft screenplay. And it was adapted by R.W. Rensler, who made the amazing Makings of books, Revenge of the Sith and the original trilogy. J.W. Rensler, Jonathan Rensler, and unfortunately Mr. Rensler passed away last year. And also the artist's name is Mayhew. I don't think he's related to Peter Mayhew, the actor who played Chewbacca, the first Chewbacca. But we did look it up. Let's look it up. Force Vision. Ba, ba, ba. The Star Wars. So I've got the entire run of The Star Wars. Okay, and this is near mint. This is a great looking comic book. And I've got them all. Now, 2 through 8, they've only kept their cover price of $4. But issue 1 is worth $8. It's doubled its price. And you know I'm a sucker for an issue 0. We have an issue 0 in here as well, which also goes for $8 near mint. We've got that. So we're going to grab some bags, grab some boards, and we're going to start to get to it. We've been bagging and boarding today, haven't we? Thank you so very much for tuning in today. I've been happy to. I love talking Star Wars. I usually do love talking Star Wars. I love these old Star Wars comics, though. I mean, just these are nostalgia machines for me. The ads, the art. I was a kid buying them with my pocket change. We had something called pocket change back then. And we had something called a disposable income. And no, we still have that. But we had pocket change. I mean, and a spinner rack, I meant to say, and with it, or a newsstand. An availability, something on eye level with a small person that literally had a small person with a disposable income. You know, you got 60 cents in your pocket. You can get yourself, a soda pop or something, or you got 50, you know what I mean? It's just like, how are you going to spend your pocket change, kid? Well, you spent your money all on candy. You couldn't afford a funny book. Stuff like that. So yeah, I put the two valuable ones together. And I'm going to start just rebagging and reboarding. This is pretty interesting. It's not great, but as a lifelong Star Wars fan, I mean, it's very fulfilled by that. I'm really, really loving that. And we'll get into more of the Marvel stuff tomorrow. I mean, the second Marvel age of Star Wars tomorrow. And yeah, see if this Poe Dameron stuff got any legs underneath it. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. We've been talking about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Do you know who won the Columbia 10-speed bicycle? Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. Please just click it right now. Just click subscribe. I like this kind of content. 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. I'm coming back tomorrow. Are you? Yes, indeed you are. I hope so. And I'll see you in the live chat if I'm able to make it. Or if not, please leave a comment. Continue this conversation. We're talking about comic books, and we're talking about comic books every day for the rest of the year. Don't be like Luke Skywalker, a pariah. Tune in. Thank you so very much. God bless. Namaste. Good luck, and we will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.